Hello and welcome to the Final Cut Half Cut with me, Jason Winter, and
I'm Nick.
here's Nick.
It's good to see you all.
How are you, Nick? Can you see them? Can you see through the internet?
I imagine they're doing well.
Fibre optic eyes. That's
I can see the Matrix.
my nickname for you on my phone.
That's the worst nickname.
I've always thought of you. I don't know
It's
what
a
that
terrible
is.
nickname.
Yeah.
Fibre optic eyes.
Fibre optic eyes. I don't know. That sounds quite nice. I never knew I could sing.
Oh, good for you.
This podcast is bringing out skills, mate. Skills to pay the bills, or at least to annoy people on the internet. How are you, mate? Keeping well?
Solid.
The good old 2020, you know,
Year of our
second
Lord.
wave coming. But year of our Lord. What is it? What's it in Chinese? The year of the pig or something?
Something like
Year of the one of them. We could look it up, but we won't.
that. I won't look it up.
We'll keep culturally
Insensitive.
insulating ourselves from any knowledge because that's how privileged British white people behave. And no, I'm joking. I'm thinking about learning a language, mate.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's good to learn a language that realistically
Because I could
we're going to
interview.
be speaking to.
Yeah, like if I learned Chinese, we could do, or like if I learn French, like if you want to do, like we were talking the other day about doing French films, we could interview a French person about it in French. They probably know English though, so we could interview.
Yeah, I was going to say we're quite.
I can get some French people on the podcast, by the way. I do know French people if you want to.
No, I'm good.
No?
No,
We just come at it from our angle, yeah?
it's fine.
Fair play, mate.
We could be like that. Those YouTubers who are like dead to America.
We
but
are
huge in
technically
China.
YouTube. Yeah, it's like Logan Paul. Apparently, he's going to fight Mayweather, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there'll be, once he's had his time in the sun, it'll be like you versus Anthony Joshua in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm not boxing anyone.
No?
I'm weedy.
Oh, mate, you're looking pretty solid to me.
That's because I'm fat at the moment.
Oh, right.
I've literally never been fat.
If this, we've got, I checked earlier, 16 subscribers, people.
Oh, the big double
I know,
digit.
and I ain't even posted this shit to Twitter, so somehow people are hungry, people are thirsty for this knowledge, and we're providing it. So I know lockdown's a bit shit, 2020's a pile of wank, but at the end of the day, we're like the silver lining.
We literally have a captive audience.
Yeah,
Well, we
that's
did.
a good point. We
did,
did.
and we don't anymore now.
Yeah.
We just go now.
I hope they didn't subscribe and their like YouTube channel, their YouTube accounts just been left.
They're all bots. They're probably bots.
Do you reckon?
Even the ones who are our friends are probably bots.
Oh, I'm like the Hans Mole man of podcasts.
I'm the good old Gil.
Yeah. We're the Gill podcast. No, we're not. I'm going to come back to your negativity, goddamn positivity and confidence. This is the best. I've seen some fucking film podcasts. Nobody does it better. Yeah, we're like the Warren G and Nate Dogg of
I'm going to need to put a
podcasts.
stop to the singing. For it.
Yeah, I know. I've done that twice in the
Yeah.
first 2-3 minutes. Yeah, sorry, people. However, all right. So we're going to introduce a new feature before we introduce the subject of today's podcast, which is I've actually got to the point where we're getting current, Nick. Getting goddamn current. We're relevant. We're so relevant right now. And I wanted to do recent film news. Yeah.
Is there a name for? Is that the name?
Hang on, you put me on the spot.
What's in the news today?
Yeah, film news to you. Have I got film news for you? I don't know. We'll work on that. Well, look, I'll get the.
Yeah.
You've sprung that on me. But no. So a couple of things in the news last couple of weeks. Firstly, Chris Evans, Captain America, leaked his own dick pic, didn't he? Live on stage somewhere.
Good on.
That in the news. Ledge. I hope that it's as hard as adamantium or whatever. Oh, there's a vibranium. That's it.
Adamantium is a Wolverine.
Oh, sorry, wrong. Yeah, I'm sure Hugh Jackman's junk is made of that. Anyway, so yeah, that was funny. Disney have pushed back a load of their films like Black Widow and the remake of West Side Story I read earlier. And what else in the news? There's something been. Oh yeah, Captain Tom is getting a fucking movie, man. He's getting a movie based on his life because that's great.
When you told me about this, I didn't know who he was.
You didn't know who Captain Tom was?
No.
What? That's
And then
crazy.
I looked him up.
Yeah.
And then I knew who he was.
Yeah.
and then I proceeded to think to myself, I still don't know who this guy is.
Yeah. If any of you don't know, or to our international audience, although it's gone all over the world, some bloke, he was approaching 100 years old. His name was Captain Tom. He'd been in World War II, which brings us on to today's subject, but we'll get on to that in a moment. And he raised a load of money for the NHS, raised 30 million quid, captured the hearts of the nation, and now he's getting his own bloody film. So good on him. Haven't got anything against Captain Tom. Quite like Captain Tom, actually. Sweet old man. He's had a #1 single. He's got a best-selling book. He's an all-round, you know.
He's had a #1 single.
Yeah, with Michael Ball. Yeah, We'll Never Walk Alone. Yeah, they did a cover of I Never Walk. I've done it again.
I need to start
sorry.
paying attention to things.
I'll know what's going on in the world, and you then just give me your the everyman's opinion.
I'm not the everyman. The everyman would know about this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're out touching it.
I'm the other man.
You're the establishment. You don't know. How much is a loaf of bread?
Backward.
Yeah, all right. How much is a pint of milk?
I haven't bought milk in ages. I don't have milk.
Oh yeah. All right. What do you? You don't drink tea?
Don't drink
coffee?
tea. Don't drink coffee.
Yeah, you're
water,
not very everyman.
No, I'm not the everyman. I'm the other man.
You're like drinking kombucha or something out of coconut.
I have had kombucha.
Oh, for God's sake! I haven't had it yet, but I'm going to try it.
It's surprisingly not awful.
I'm also going to try this new thing called Kilju, which is I'm not going to kill you. I mean Kilju, Kilju. My mate Will told me about it. You know, Will the brewer, Will Keeble.
Oh, Keeble.
Yeah, Ledge. And he told me about it because basically I've had this idea. No, I'm going off on a tangent, but I want to make Haribo cider. So it's like the sugars in the Haribo, yeah, happy days. You'll be able to make a cider out of that. But there's a lot of gelatin, and obviously gelatin will eat up all the yeast, so it won't have any booze or something. So basically, we're making Kilju out of the flavours of the Haribo. Then we put that in as the base of the cider. But yeah, very experimental. Anyway, not very everyman, but Haribo cider. Look out for in 2021.
Yeah.
What's your bit of news, Nick? You're going to surprise me.
Well, I don't want to say congratulate because that is.
Oh yeah.
That
Have
is
I
a
predicted
bad
it again?
term.
Have I predicted something? What's happened?
I want to not congratulate, but say good for you, Netflix, for making a film that is designed purely at sex offenders.
What's this?
It's a film called Cuties.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of controversy about it.
There's a lot of controversy about this. Have you seen the stuff about it?
No, I tend to move. I don't. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen the backlash. It's not something I would watch anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, have you seen the poster?
No, is it similar to like the pageantry documentaries about
No, it's
really
worse.
young?
It's worse.
Oh, really?
It's much worse.
What's it? Well, go on, give us an idea.
So the film itself is kind of a coming of age story
Mm-hmm.
about like these French children.
Right.
But holy fuck! I mean, I've not watched it,
Right.
but I've seen the poster.
Right.
It was shown to me, and I was like, might be the most disgusting film I've ever seen in my life. This
Right.
is awful.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And
'Cause
from what I've heard, the message itself, I fully agree with.
Right.
The delivery,
not good.
not so much.
It's a bit like Trainspotting's kind of inadvertently glamorised in.
Well, no, it's not
Heroin
glamour.
use or
It's
something.
it's not glamorizing. It's more as if it was started advertising heroin
Wow.
to people.
Okay. Doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
No,
but
it's not.
I've heard the controversy around it. Particularly, I'm gutted this week because fucking Netflix won an Emmy for Dark Crystal for best children's programming, and then an hour later, from like getting the award, announced that they were cancelling it. And they've spent $40 million on the sets and costumes and bringing Jim Henson's company back.
Yeah.
And now they've cancelled it. And everybody in the comments, I wrote on this Variety article, and everybody went, yeah, because they've cancelled this brilliant show that they painstakingly put together for like years, and now they're just making pedo trash.
Well,
basically. You know, it's like-
Netflix have a problem with that. They will tend to like continue stuff that's kind of awful.
yeah.
Because they did the Kissing Booth 2,
Yeah.
which no one cared for. They'll continue series that like no one likes about. But like there's a show I love called The Expanse, which they cancelled, and then it was well received,
Yeah.
but unfortunately it didn't make that much money. So Amazon picked it up. Shout out to Amazon Prime, even
Nice
though Jeff
one.
Bezos is a
Well,
monster.
yeah.
But I mean, they've got like a very weird situation where they'll just go for like, if it makes money, it makes money. They don't really care if it's good.
This is the problem, and interestingly, I didn't confirm this. I haven't had time to look it up, but apparently Disney owns the Jim Henson Company. So I know you're not a big Dark Crystal fan, but I am.
Oh,
so
Dark Crystal.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I know.
Did you watch this series or?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously they left it on a cliffhanger, and it was like they needed 2-3 more series to tell the story. So gutted about that. There's even the making of documentary that explains how they've weaved digital effects with puppetry, and it's not just about cancelling a show I liked. It's about also as a film fan and like a fan of different art formats. Like they literally have single-handedly funded the whole puppetry thing, kept that going. And to cancel it, it just felt like a kick in the teeth to all the people that are literally on their 2-hour-long documentary about it, going, we're the executives that put in the money to bring back puppetry in the Jim Henson Company, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, that was a load of shit. And I'm like, why? But hopefully Disney brings that, like, basically if Disney owns it, then obviously it's going to go to Disney Plus and they can keep it going. So look out for that, Dark Crystal fans, because that's my nerd.
All two of you.
Yeah. I think it was. I don't know how it ranks in terms of its fee, but obviously there's a reason why they cancelled it. But I don't know if it was because the financial or the amount of people that watched it on their platform. I think there might be some legal stuff with Disney if they've gone, well, this is ours now, because they launched it before Disney Plus was launched. You know?
Well, because they had to take away the not Avengers, the Defenders.
Oh yeah.
They had to cancel all that stuff after Disney took over.
Yeah, so. And that's kind of like obviously Daredevil and that whole thing. That I don't know what's happening with that now. Does that stay at Netflix?
I'm thinking it will stay at Netflix because that's a Netflix show. It's just Netflix no longer owns the rights.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one with all these. But I think personally, there's too many. I think like with HBO Max coming in and stuff like that, I'm like, there's still like there's already not enough time in the world to watch most of the telly. And this is just going to be insane. Like all the HBO stuff with the connected Batman series and Gotham PD. John Cena's getting his own show that's connected to Suicide Squad. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. We need to get on our subject. But there's so much shit out there to watch. It's ridiculous. But then you're cancelling stuff I got into, and it's like I'm endlessly having to chase a new drug or something. It's like, don't do that. Give me what I have already had. Or don't. I have no control. So, because of that, because of the recent news, I had an idea the other day to look at kind of period dramas and particularly like the war film, given that Captain Tom has now been given his own movie, which I predicted 6 months ago, by the way. I predicted he'd get Knighthood, and I predicted that he'd get a movie. I wrote a script about it.
Do you have the receipts, though?
I have I have it somewhere. I didn't get rid of it. It's, but I'm not going to legally challenge them, okay? Yes. Fight your battles, yeah? Pick your battles or whatever it is.
That's not the hill you want to die on.
No, yeah. Like if I was at war or in a film about war with Tom Hanks.
I believe you have a question for me, don't you, Jason?
Oh, yeah. Shit.
What is this question? Because you're making a big thing. So I have a question
for
Nick.
You. So I was wondering, Nick.
Yeah? You've timed that awfully.
What is it good for, Nick? Apart from...
You should have skipped a drum.
Yeah, sorry. It was all for effect. It's all. Yeah. I think that went well. Anyway, so good old that guy. So war, kind of shit, yeah. We can say that. I don't think war is fun, like when you're there. And I know that because my granddad told me. He was at World War II, Battle of Normandy, the greatest assembly of naval ships of all time.
You say that. My granddad had a great World War II.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was stationed in India. He just got drunk and played football.
Oh, man.
Had a whale of a time.
To be fair, shout out to World War II, because without that, snooker wouldn't exist. Because there were some geezers stationed up a mountain, and they wanted to rework the rules of billiards in India as well. And they were stationed there, bored because there wasn't much going on there. Obviously, there wasn't the that wasn't, whatever. I'm not a historian. I don't fucking know. But they invented snooker, so thank you very much. That's about the only good stuff that came out of World War. NHS, new welfare state. That's a political point there. After that,
I mean, there's actually quite a lot that came out good out of World War II, but if you try and argue,
I mean, we've had the longest period of
going into
peace.
space.
Yeah.
World War II.
Yeah, jet engines.
A whole bunch of like cures for diseases came out of World War
nuclear, nuclear power. A lot of people say isn't good. Like a lot of people say nuclear power ain't good, but I mean it is another form of energy that we developed.
I'd say it's realistically the best one we have.
Yeah.
In terms of a
long-term sustainable future, we need nuclear at the heart of how we embolden our what do you call it, renewable energies like wind and solar. But anyway, that's not what we're here to discuss today. We are here to discuss the war movie. That's my sound effect. That's the level. We've really upped the production this time.
That was a button we pressed to get that sound.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad.
Anyway, so do you like war movies, Nick?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I quite like quite a few war movies.
What war movies do you like?
I like one of my favourite war movies is War, starring Jet Li and Jason Statham.
Oh yeah.
I also quite like This Means War, starring Tom Hardy and Chris Pine.
Oh yeah.
You got your Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, classic.
You got your Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Lad.
There is a classic porno about that, but
yeah, there's also the one I like is Lawrence of Arabia. That might be my favourite.
Yeah.
Version of the thing.
I like back to actual war movies. One that really got me back in the day, which I think is important about the context of like our demographic. So just to briefly sort of talk about the war movies legacy. Back in the day, obviously my granddad's generation, our granddad's generation, went to war. Directly after that, there weren't a lot of war movies because obviously PTSD and the sort of soul of Western nations needed to recover. So it was all rainbows and sunshine. You know what I mean? It was all like Fred Astaire and stuff like that. The golden age of Hollywood in the 50s, obviously McCarthyism, meant that like they were pushing this really nice, white picket fence version of America to try and forget about the casualties of war, if you like. And that's quite interesting in terms of cinema because then in the 60s, you started to get the war movies come back. And my granddad, they would always be on, and he would talk about the war based on watching these films and going, "That's not true," and blah blah blah. But it was a sort of connection to their, obviously they brought up in wartime, so it was their identity, their past, their experience, which is quite interesting. But then moving along to our parents' generation, obviously the Vietnam War, the era of Rambo, Full Metal Jacket, fucking Platoon. What's the absolute epic that we're missing? Napalm in the Morning.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, Apocalypse Now. So that was obviously a reflection. Hollywood, by the time we get to the 70s, is reflecting the anti-war movement of the American youth and the sort of hippie movement and even civil rights and stuff like this. So famously Muhammad Ali and people dodging the draft of Vietnam, being sent to prison, and that was probably the point at which, because I'm too young to be a part of the kind of propaganda films of the 40s and 50s and even 60s where they were still being like, yeah, we're the boys, and actually looking at the ramifications of war and stuff like that. And now I feel like we've gone completely full circle because, not to get too political, but Captain Tom raised a load of money for the NHS because the NHS is underfunded because of an austerity government that then uses World War II language in the exact crisis that has motivated him to then raise that money. And then he's got a media profile from the mainstream media outlets, which essentially pushed that propaganda to us in a modern day way. And then they're making a film about it. So it's like, my question to you, Mr. Social Scientist of the day that I'm feeling, is like, it's mental, innit? Yeah, propaganda back in the day and it's all come a bit full circle where Captain Tom's literally made money, and then they'll make a film about it, and we'll all have a little cry, and then we'll go, oh, good old Captain Tom, isn't he lovely? Oh,
He's a great man.
great man. But really, you know, it's all a bit, I don't know, a cyclical load of. I'm being cynical, but I'm just saying that's. I've come from the war movie, and it's sort of showing how it's been detrimental to the actual people that fight the war, and then now we're in a situation where we're in a different crisis, but it's quite similar. And Captain Tom's getting that movie, mate.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So, wait, what's the question?
I don't really know. Like propaganda versus the Hollywood machine, right? At one point, is being used as propaganda. In another era, like the 70s until even now, with Black Hawk Down and stuff like that, films about the Iraq War, like Jarhead and stuff, they do. We have talked about war still and its ramifications in an artistic sense. So on one hand, you've got like the artistic relevance of war, right? So it's affected all of society, and if you talk about Apocalypse Now or whatever, Platoon, you really see the violence of war. It's those films are ultra violent, and also like the mental, the cost on your soul type thing. Yeah, that it's not all we're the heroes and well done us. And that's when artistically those films were, to me, quite relevant, rather than pandering to an audience and playing on because the Captain Tom film will be nostalgia on steroids. Like that is the point of it. Like it's for an older audience that look back and go, oh, isn't he lovely? I gave him a £5, and they'll feel good about themselves, and they'll feel good about old Captain Tom. Like, oh, we're doing everything, and then they'll go home, and then they'll go and vote for a Tory again that will actually destroy the NHS. And I'm just like, how much does that appeal to you, mate?
I don't care.
I don't care about, like, I probably won't. Well, I probably will watch the film just because I like watching things that I don't particularly like. I wouldn't particularly watch if it was my own viewing, but like because of its kind of moment. We're in a moment where this guy has captured the hearts of a nation, and therefore we're going to have that nostalgic look at his life. And it'll probably be the end of World War II, and he'll meet his wife, and it'll be about this sort of.
I would love it to be a
50s time.
proper brutal take on them, where like he just sees where like it's just like people die in front of him, and it's like super anti-war. And like it ends with him like he commits a war crime.
His best friend was gets shot down on the last day that they're there, and he's going to retire.
It's like he commits a war crime,
kills 150 Nazis in a row.
Yeah, it's like
but like one solid shot, like
visceral.
in 1917. Yeah,
like there's a scene where he's like putting a knife into someone.
Yeah, and then it takes like 8 minutes because he's like pushing. And
then at the end
they're exhausted.
Let him home.
Yeah, you have to see him cut the gangrenous dead skin off his feet and shit. Trench
that would be good. I'd like that. Like, if it was like
bayoneting people in the eyes,
like it's Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, should we make a horror war film?
D-Day Saving Private Ryan times 10.
Yeah, no one's really done. I mean, Apocalypse Now, Platoon and stuff are like horror war films, aren't they? Like the war film, when it is good, is when it goes from this anticipation of like Full Metal Jacket when they do the training, and then when they actually go there, it's like, this is just fucking chaos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when like this the descent of war that is interesting in those sort of typical films. But obviously, Captain Tom's film isn't going to be a war film. It's going to be a nostalgic period drama with the kind of the shadow of the war in the background, but how his eternal human spirit comes through, which. Not to sound cynical as a film podcast, but fuck the eternal human spirit. I'm joking. Don't do that. It's great. Who do you reckon should play Captain Tom? You know what he looks like, don't you?
Barely.
Yeah.
As an old man, I don't know what he looks like when he's young.
He just looked like sort of normal geezer.
Like a guy.
I reckon probably Eddie Redmayne will play him or something like that.
Yeah, I don't like Eddie Redmayne.
I don't like Eddie Redmayne. Have you seen him in Jupiter Ascending?
Oh, he's got the biggest mouth in the world. Yeah, he's got a huge mouth.
He's like, everything is like.
I don't know.
Bizarre.
I don't know. Anyone.
He's like a camp Voldemort in it.
It's like Voldemort.
Camper Voldemort.
I don't know. Well, I like whatever happens in the film. I don't care. It's I'm never gonna watch it.
It's not your thing, yeah.
Yeah, the feel good. If it's a feel good film,
yeah, that's how it be.
I'm never gonna watch it because I don't watch feel good films.
Yeah, like catharsis.
Nah.
No, I do, but I don't like it. That's actually what I was thinking about. Is that weirdly, right? The hero's journey in fantasy, science fiction, and action films, is something that I am like pre-programmed to get like quite emotional about and love when I'm watching movies, but then when I come back and put my like political hat on and go, they've duped us with all this propaganda and they've taken war, and I'm going to mention it, but the classic Frankie Boyle joke of going, America's amazing. Not only will they come to your country, bomb the shit out of it, and steal all of your natural resources, but then they'll come back 25 years later and make a movie about how stealing your resources made their soldiers sad. And I'm like, that's my MO when I look at this. It's like in a postmodern, post-capitalism or a late capitalist stage of society when we know like the Iraq War and things like that were illegal and like basically they destroyed countries and they fund the war on terror is a war of terror. I'm very politically like minded in that sense. I sort of get quite jaded at even the idea of like, good on Captain Tom. He's had a #1 single, he's had a best-selling book, and now he's got a sweet movie deal. But in society in general, I go, well, there's 30-odd million quid there, right, over here for the NHS, born out of like a political decision, and then over here, a movie about it that's probably going to cost the same money.
Yeah.
So like, this makes no sense to me in society, like in today's world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people are fucking unemployed. Do we really need a Captain Tom movie? Maybe we do.
No, we don't.
No?
No, we
don't. Okay. I agree.
Yeah, we don't need any film. No film will change the world.
Yeah.
That's but it's quite weird in the way that despite war films being a very popular like genre, it's like kind of like propaganda-esque.
Yeah.
I can't really think of any popular war films that are pro-war. They're all pretty much.
Yeah, this is it. With 1917 Dunkirk and stuff, they seem to tell a character-driven story of events and a they're cinematically very impressive in terms of their production and like using all those sort of like 1917 being that long single shot and stuff like that. So like I think like in that sense, like those films are cinematically interesting and have something to say. But I don't know. I'm just like, it's never been something that appeals to me. And then I hate the idea that like the war movie as a romantic concept, particularly in today's superhero world, right, where both Marvel and Christopher Nolan have said that it's a war movie, and they draw upon your class, proper auteurs of the 70s that made Apocalypse Now and stuff, and they get this thing where they think that they've made like, Captain America Civil War is like Apocalypse Now. I'm like, you think you're calling it, this one's like a war movie, like blah blah blah. We turn these characters, and it's a load of bollocks. It's not a war movie.
Jason. It's got war in the title.
Yeah.
Civil War.
How much
ipso facto?
How much is fucking Star Wars a war franchise? Is that? They kind of do.
There's a lot of war in that film.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because it's all about a war.
Yeah, okay.
It's the Empire versus the Rebellion.
Yeah, alright, true. So, do you see, I saw this funny meme where it was like a 9/11 conspiracy theorist, but it's set in Star Wars. It's like, one farm boy blew up the whole Death Star? No way, man. But also, The Dark Knight Returns. I watched very long, it's really good on YouTube, apart from the final cut, half cut with me, Jason Winter. It's about, and Nick, don't worry. It's about the whole Dark Knight trilogy and the behind the scenes of making it, from the producers to all the behind the scenes stuff, and it's quite interesting about their the concept art and like before Batman Begins, like, but coming along, in saying that The Dark Knight Rises is a war movie, which they marketed it as at the time. It's just not really. Is it? Is it a war movie? Because I can see how they say it's a war movie based on the events, but apart from a couple of large sequences, like I do get annoyed with the sort of gravitas that certain directors come along and say we're making a war movie. I'm like, are you making a Batman film that's just quite big? Right?
Yeah, it's not a war movie.
No.
I
mean, they take over a city and he's a terrorist.
Yeah, okay, for me, because...
And the bomb thing, they got a big bomb, but...
Yeah, okay. In the same way, even though Star Wars has a war in it, Star Wars is not a war movie. For me, a war movie has to be about a certain historical war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if someone making a war movie, what's it about? Oh, no, we've made a war. It's set in the future. I'd be like, okay, for me, that's not a war movie. It has to be set in a specific historical war.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean...
But at the same time, like, it'd be a battle.
And I think there's a sort of nostalgic thing for period dramas, which we covered last week a bit with 80s nostalgia, and that's like modern period drama. You know, we now say period dramas.
Which we were wrong about a bit.
Are we?
X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
That's like the 50s or something. That is nowhere near the 80s.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know what we said.
I was thinking. I think we're talking Apocalypse and stuff like that.
Rising
Phoenix.
Days of Future Past might be 80s.
Yeah, but then they go back to the 60s. That's the thing.
No, Days of Future Past is set in the future.
70s.
That's
Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, Days of Future Past set in the future.
I call my penis Peter Dinklage.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Because it's small.
No, because hang on. I just call it the Dinklage.
Okay, because the thing is, Dinklage is small.
Like, he is.
He casts a big shadow.
He's a midget, isn't he? Is it a midget?
I think dwarf is the...
No, I think dwarf is the non...
Well, there's something called dwarf, isn't
there? Alright. To any small people... I'm only 5'8", so at the end of the day, I'm pretty much one of you guys, but if you are offended, please, please message or comment on this post, and I'll personally send you Nick's address to be able to complain to him. I'm only joking, mate. I don't know why I told you that. It's just I was joking. The point is that, well, I mean, I don't really like the war movie. I mean, we tend to do podcasts and end up saying we hate everything, and I don't think we should stop doing that now.
No, I hate everything.
So, I mean, what is your... Yeah, Dark Knight Rises, they claim that's a war film, and it's not. I mean, there are a lot of films about war that aren't really war films.
Yeah, the other thing is, like, you can, for example, War Horse.
Oh, yeah.
Is a war film, but I wouldn't
Steven Spielberg's probably made the most money out of
War Horse is a war film, but I would argue it's not a war film first.
Yeah.
It's a film about a horse.
Okay.
Which means a horse film tends to be, people think this horse isn't the best horse.
Yeah.
But it is the best horse.
It comes through.
And that's a twist.
Again, that's just the what we're doing there. What's that called when you like give things
false meaning?
Yeah, like a human when you humanise it.
Oh yeah.
It's called oh mate, I knew that in school.
Personification.
Yeah, so they personify the horse, right? As with the inalienable human spirit we've talked about in the sort of way that war movie likes to tell that enduring story, which is fine and it's great. The enduring human spirit. Good luck with all of that, guys, because we're all in it together. Blah blah blah. Great. Love the enduring human spirit, and if it's embodied in a horse, lovely. Good luck with that. And like I get the cathartic message because I've got that sort of hero's journey. But what I've realised is that Hollywood took that idea of the war, and then you literally, now I'm getting super into it. Capitalism has made individualism and consumerism make the sort of classic male, hero the embodiment of that. So it's not like an organization or a nation or like the allied forces across the world can save the world. It is the classic, James Bond. James Bond wouldn't exist if we couldn't individualize this one man can save the world versus like actually what war is about, which most Western governments at the moment, with more authoritarian right-wing governments, is cooperation and being able to share information and working together and communicating together. That's how, we got the fucking Americans involved, then we got the Russians on side, and then they fucking steamrolled everyone, and we had a bomb, and we were like, yeah, we're, actually, interesting fact, I had a mate, found out when I was 18, went to school with him, and I had a mate that found out his granddad passed away, and then top secret documents came through. He always said he was like a chemist, right? Just a chemist for like GlaxoSmithKline or whatever, like making fucking paracetamol. Turns out he was top secret working on the H-bomb. What a wild thing to find out. Yeah. So
my grandfather participated in the deaths of thousands.
Yeah, millions.
He's a monster.
Yeah, but we could debate the atomic bomb and its legacy. But that's quite interesting that like obviously we got to the brink of. Yeah. No. Well, did you know there's around the world, read this statistic, there are 52 sunken nuclear submarines. 2 of them are American and 50 of them are Russian. And all of them, they together have the amount of nuclear arsenal to destroy the world 5 times over. And they're completely unsafe, and we don't really know where they are. And they're at the bottom of the sea. Nobody's doing anything about it. So there's like 52 nuclear bombs in the sea that nobody knows about. Well, I know about it.
It's probably more than 52.
That's what we know.
One.
Yeah.
They always have more than one.
So, yeah, real life war stuff still not really been sorted out.
Yeah.
So, if you were in a war, Nick, would you go to war?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you do a Captain Tom? If you were you were Captain Tom, right? Because I think good luck to the geezer. He's got a knighthood, a #1 single, a #1 bestseller, and probably he's going to get a #1 movie, right? If you're like, do you know the Friends episode where they say there's no selfless act?
Is that when Joey jumps on top of the sandwich?
I think so.
To
Yeah.
Take a shot?
Yeah. And it's like there is no selfless acting. It's a running joke throughout the whole episode, and I'm not calling out Captain Tom because that'd be too controversial. And I think I'll get the fucking mobs with their pitchforks on fire.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. You can't harass an old man.
But I'm saying he's done all right out of it, isn't he? Yeah. I'm not saying he planned it, right? I'm not saying he's like, oh, if I do all this, I'm going to look like a right legend. Like, I'm not saying he's that cynical, but I am. Like, I'm joking. He didn't do it to, he's not profited out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he secured the bag. I respect that.
Yeah. Good luck to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd
like to go. I'd go to war.
You would.
Yeah, but I like the idea of dying in battle.
Yeah.
Like
dying by the sword.
Like a noble samurai.
Yeah. I like the idea of it. I probably would, but I'd probably be quite educated. I'd become an officer. I'd be back there. The fucking lackeys would be out there actually getting killed. Do you know what I mean?
I'd learn how to say death before the sunrise. I'd plunge the sword into myself.
I'd like to be a general. Like, I just in general would like to be a general. Like, what's that?
Give me that high five.
Oh, that's a low five, Nick.
Yeah, no, but.
Oh, all right. Yeah, fair play. Talking of that, so once, right, another war movie that I quite like, Hunt for Red October. Sean Connery plays a Russian submarine captain. As Sean Connery, no Russian accent, classic, just like Highlander. Sean Connery speaks like Sean Connery. Good luck to him. Fair enough. But one thing happened to me once I want to tell. I've got this other feature that I want to start introducing because I've got quite a few of these, which is Jason's Ridiculous Stories. During university, I worked.
Love it.
Thank you. I worked at this Green King pub. It was really quite posh. They spent £500,000 just refurbishing it. And it was on the Thames, and it's in this really leafy, nice part of Kingston, like a little, country park by the river, and all of the houses are like multi-million-pound fucking houses on this estate. And so you'd have a lot of well-to-do people come in. So one day, I was asked if I would work the Christmas karaoke, and it was it's coming up to my 22nd birthday. My mate Dave's coming down to stay for the weekend, and we're gonna go out on the piss and have a good Friday night. So they said, do you want to work it, or do you want to have 4 free pints and you can just run the karaoke? So I went, I'll just have the 4 free pints and then I'll go out about 10 o'clock. So I set up. Dave's changing the discs. I'm on the mic. they told me I had to sing at 6:00 p.m. when there's like literally 100 people in the restaurant having their dinner at 6 p.m. So I chose to sing The Power of Love and sing it purposely really badly. That didn't go down well. I got in trouble anyway. So my job was sing a couple of songs. As you know, Nick, I've got a beautiful singing voice.
An angel.
Yeah, voice of an angel. And so yeah, did a couple of songs. Then people started signing up to this thing. So there's this famous. Well, he's not that famous, but he's one of the generals or one of the high up in command in Hunt for Red October, and he's Mark's dad in the Christmas special of Peep Show. And every year he comes to the karaoke, and he's come to the karaoke for 20 years in a row. Right, it's his thing. He books it, all his family, and he loves it. Right, so he's come over and asked for a bunch of songs. Unfortunately, there's a rowdy bunch of 20-something professionals, all getting quite drunk and all signing up to the karaoke. So the list of people was like 10 people long before he can even get on it. So he's got to wait like an hour.
Yeah.
And he keeps coming over like, when is it my turn? I'm like, really sorry, but they all sign their names into it. I get more and more drunk because I'm not getting paid.
You've gone through those 4.
I went through the 4 beers in about 2 hours. Then you're talking 5th, 6th. I'm on the 7th or 8th by now. And so he's getting more and more irate because he fucking loves the karaoke. So this guy from Hunt for Red October in a war movie literally came over and screamed in my face, "If you're gonna do the karaoke, do it fucking properly!" And he stormed out. And so I had this Hollywood actor, just screaming like an actual Peep Show moment in my life. Yeah, nice. That really happened.
Nice.
Thank you. So that's my connection to Hunt for Red October. If we're ever going to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or
that's
whatever.
Not how the game works.
No, is that
no, that's not how the game
me works. And Hunt for this guy.
Well, no? You weren't in a film, so it wouldn't count.
I've been in some films.
Name one.
I've been on telly.
Doesn't count.
Oh no, I haven't been.
I mean, if you're on the series, it would count, but
nah, I haven't been on any series. I've been in the news.
Yeah, don't count.
And I can't talk about that for legal reasons. No, I'm only joking.
Crime Watch isn't the news either.
I'm in the new series of Cuties. Did you not know?
Oh, it's not a series. It's a film.
I'm an agent. I'm not really. I'm definitely not. That's not my bag, people.
Casually joking about paedophilia.
I'm not joking about paedophilia. I'm joking about Netflix making a show that encourages it.
Welcome to the Final Cut Half Cut, where we
casually joke
that's about paedophilia.
Well, the only thing I joke about that is the war on paedophilia and those types of shows, which bring back the Dark Crystal and cancel fucking Cuties, or I will go to war with you, Netflix. You fucking piss me off. Can't believe it. Also, Emmys this weekend, or last weekend, sorry, or 2 weeks' time by the time we upload this. Zendaya was the youngest.
Oh, Zendaya.
She won the
Euphoria.
Yeah, she's the youngest ever actress to win.
And she's one of 2. I think she's only 2. Black people ever.
And she's really good.
Oh, I fucking love Zendaya.
Yeah, she's in the new Batman as well.
Yeah,
as Catwoman.
She's Mary Jane.
Is she?
In Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. No, wait, no, she's not.
She's MJ.
She's not Catwoman then. I've got the wrong actress. Who's Catwoman in the Batman?
Because she's MJ because you don't know who she is in the first film.
Right.
And then it turns out she's MJ.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool.
She's great in Euphoria. Big fan of hers.
Zendaya in the Batman? I've got this totally wrong, haven't I?
Probably. Because that's Selena Kyle.
Who is? Oh, I'm really sorry.
I'm low-key proud of myself for knowing the name Selena Kyle.
I know, yeah. The Batman, Catwoman. Oh, it's Zoe Kravitz. I'm so sorry. That's semi-racist. But yeah, Zoe Kravitz.
Who's in X-Men First Class?
Is she?
She's the girl who can fly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I did know that. Yeah. I mean, clearly neither of us massive fans of the war film.
I like war films.
You do like war films. Have you got what other points do you have about because like I say, I was brought up on the Rambo era, so I'm like I've had to look back at all of that. Do you know what I mean? And I take that as like, well, by my inception to the war film was already like a jaded version. Do you know what I mean? It's not the sort of triumphant heroic we're the best, blah blah blah. Although Rambo did go back and tried to single-handedly
he won everything.
Won the Vietnam War for America when it was at a time where they felt, you know what I mean? It's sort of the war movie is used as this elastic kind of reaction, whether it's in a time where they can artistically critique it or use it and go, Rambo in the first film, he's jaded, he's blowing up the town because he's clearly got issues.
Yeah.
Next time, we'll send him fucking back there and he'll blow up some shit, but he's doing it for the right reasons this time. Yeah.
His mental history is solved.
Exactly.
And now he's
sweet. Oh, also this week, sorry to bring it up, but still, Sylvester Stallone's mum did pass away like just 2 days ago, 98. So sorry, Sylvester Stallone.
We did not need to bring that up.
Well, it's relevant news.
Not to films.
Well, she was his mum, and Rambo's a thing. Without her, Rambo wouldn't exist.
So many family members have died that don't need to be brought up.
Yeah, I know, but it was in the news. She was on Celebrity Big Brother.
So. Oh, okay. I don't watch that.
No?
No, why would
I? Look, I didn't watch it either. I just knew Jackie Stallone, her name was 98. R.I.P. There you go. We'll move on.
Rest in power.
Yes. And Ruth Bader
RGB,
Ginsburg,
she's
RGB. Passed away. That's a political thing.
Yeah.
But I liked her as well.
Yeah.
Any notable deaths you want to mention, Nick? Should we just read out every single death from World War II?
No, I think that'd be too.
Is that not how this podcast
That'll go for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't got the list with me.
That's fine.
I'm sure.
So, do you want me to talk about what my film?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
What's your favourite? What's your take on the war film? I've ranted.
Well, as a child of the late 90s, I feel it's very strange. I've never experienced combat.
Yeah.
I've never been in a fight.
You not?
No.
Right. Given your personality, I would have thought.
I'm inherently hateable.
No, you're not. You're a good guy.
No, it's weird. Like, despite all these things, I'm in a very safe location.
Mm-hmm.
If you gave me a AK-47, I think I could load it.
Yeah, but that's because you play COD.
No, that's because how war and combat and military is so ingrained.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In our culture.
Yeah.
Whereas
I can work
realistically, I should not know any guns.
Yeah.
In a perfect world, I wouldn't know what any guns are.
Have you ever shot a gun in real life?
No.
Have you not?
No.
I have. I've shot a shotgun.
Have
you ever had a gun pulled on you?
No.
Can I do another one of Jason's great stories?
Do what you gotta do.
No, I'm sorry. I'm getting away. Just as an aside, once, same pub, about 2 months later, right?
Yeah.
Me and this Australian guy, he was there because he wanted to learn how to drive. It's much cheaper than learning to drive in Australia. Anyway, so what happened was we decided to go for a couple of drinks in town after work, and then he had to walk back to the pub. Now, we had quite a few drinks. He had to go back to work next day, and I had to get to the bus stop across town, yeah? What happened next was crazy. So a police officer spots us, starts shouting. We're walking up to this what was affectionately called McCluskey's. It was called McCluskey's. It's the second largest club, but it's the dingy one. So it's like
whereabouts is this place?
In Kingston upon Thames. Yeah, southwest London, right by on Kingston Bridge.
I want to know the name so I can avoid.
Yeah. It probably doesn't exist anymore, mate. This is 8 years ago. So we're walking towards past this big club. A lot of people there. It's a Friday, Saturday night. I can't remember. And this policeman. There's like an underpass. You know how Colchester Town has places underneath the shops for delivery trucks to go. It's kind of like that. It's a big bit of sort of built up building. This guy's running out from there. And this policeman's like, "Are you? And we're quite inebriated, so we thought, surely he's not talking to us, we haven't done anything wrong. And at that point, literally 8 SWAT policemen come out and surround us. Like the bit where when Wesley Snipes falls into the bloodbath in Blade 2, and all of the people surround him, and he kicks the shit up with that glass thing, And so they were like, "Well, you," to me. They were like, "We've got a sighting of a guy who stabbed someone in a club, and he's wearing a grey coat, a blue shirt, black jeans, brown boots." And I was wearing a grey coat with blue shirt, black jeans, and brown boots. So I matched the description exactly. And at this point, I've got semi-automatic machine guns, 8 semi-automatic machine guns, fucking pointed at my head. And hands up, I'm talking torches, they're literally in a circle, and we're like this. And I was a bit older than this guy, and I'd had things. I've had altercations before, and so I knew how to manage it because I was like, "There's no way that obviously we're not guilty of anything, so stop being worried about it." But he was very, very anxious, and so for about 10 minutes we had these guns point. I had these guns pointed to my head while they're radioing frantically, and yeah, it's very, very tense. And then after a while, 10, 15 minutes, they finally let us go and said, "Okay, we've had another sighting, and we know it's not you." And so I was like, "Well, obviously it's not me. I'm not going to act this calm if I've just stabbed someone." So they let me go. But then I realised that I have to walk from one end of the town to the other to get to the bus rank. And all these police are running all over town to try and hunt this guy down. So the Australian kid runs off, and I go up this underpass, this like sort of concrete stairway, and this little guy who just clearly started and he was quite flustered in the initial altercation comes running down the stairs and he grabs me and we corner each other in the stairway, and he's like he's got like a fighting stance. He's like, "We've just seen you, haven't we?" And I'm like, "Yes." Yeah, and we do the standoff where I have to walk away, and that's my story of having guns pulled on me. Yeah, and I finally got to the bus rank. It was very, very scary, and it was a real life situation where I had guns in my face, police going to arrest me for a serious crime, and didn't do it, folks. So that's my gun story as well.
And that's how you got away with that stabbing.
Yeah. Crime. No. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, if I did go to war, I'd be a bum man. So let's do it. World War III, bring it on.
I'd be seducing the enemy, trying to get on their side.
Well, I don't know what it. That's another good question.
I want to play both sides.
Yeah. We have been we grew up in both born in the 90s. Okay, respectively a little further apart. But I mean, I've got baby
I was
face.
born in the 90s. I was raised in the 2000s.
Yeah, but I probably look younger than you now.
Yeah.
I mean, keeping it Peter Pan.
I don't get IDs. That's all I'm saying.
You don't get ID. I got ID like 3 days ago for fucking like an energy drink. I hate.
I haven't been ID for the last
I kind of love and hate it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be respected, like a godfather, but I also want to be youthful and beautiful, like not the. I don't know. Like the Little Mermaid. No, that's my MO. Little Mermaid meets Marlon Brando's Godfather is my exact personality.
So it's a Little Mermaid / Vito Corleone.
Yes, yeah. Another story during that time, my favourite cafe was called Corleone. Yeah, it was really cool. They just had the Godfather cafe called Corleone's. Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, blast from the past there. So you're a fan of war movies. I mean,
yeah.
What I wanted to ask you is another angle to this is obviously we've grown up, like I was saying, in the 90s, and you've never had a fight. Like I've got some extraordinary stories from being at university, but I haven't really been in a proper fight. I got jumped once, but I mean, I haven't done 12 rounds. All right, I haven't I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know this, Nick.
Yeah.
So I think obviously the reason why all those films in the 70s were really popular is that people actually did go to the Vietnam War and they were completely destroyed, and this thing called PTSD became a thing. And likewise with my granddad or our grandparents' generation, they lived through it. And so I wonder what you think. I mean, we should have got a veteran or someone interviewed someone for this, but obviously the lived experience and watching those films is entirely different to us interpreting it and me getting upset at fucking Captain America's gonna save the day. Like, even Captain America is like the first Captain America is, obviously set in World War II, and like they play on that nostalgia as well. Do you reckon it's different for people that have been to war? I reckon probably.
100%.
Yeah.
There's I can watch any film basically, and they'll get like. So, I'm a big fan of this TV show called Generation Kill.
Right.
Where it just kind of explores the mundanity.
Yeah, what's it about? Go
on. It's basically a bunch of I think they're Marines. Wait, are they Marines? Who got his dick off?
Oh dear.
Marines.
That would be
fun.
So
it's a bunch of Marines, and it's basically just exploring the mundanity of military life.
Yeah.
And it's probably my favourite TV show I've watched. But then you have, because at the moment, war used to be two equally matched.
This is what I was going to bring up next. Is the
equally
nature,
matched opponents kind of fighting.
Well, it's like the nature of war has changed, and therefore the nature of war films will change.
Now it's America just bombing the shit out of some poorer country.
Yeah. And that's also like, so a part of the actual military, the change in the military over the last 40 years is that they've now, in America and Britain, we've moved to a mercenary model. So we don't have the World War II situation. We don't have conscription, do we? We basically have proxy wars whereby, you know, I've been involved with the drone industry. That's something I haven't brought up. And now we have trade wars, and it's all on our economy. So one idea I wanted to pose for the future of the war film,
it's like Metal Gear.
Yeah, very good. Is a sequel to the what's the film about Facebook? Was it called The Social Network? The Social Network needs a sequel whereby the political, economic, and the whole proxy war thing of Russia versus the West and China. That's what we do now. That like it's all dark money. It's all trade tariffs on goods. It's hacking. We recently had the Russians hacked one of our nuclear power plants. That today is is modern warfare, and that needs to be documented. That's what we'll see in the next 10 years of a war film, I think, because that's probably where we're at in terms of what war means. But I don't know. Got any ideas, mate? What would you like to see in a war film, a modern war film now? Because we've had those allegories of the tragedy of war, and we've had the real look at the mental health stuff.
Well, most films tend to, as a horror fan, generally the most horrifying thing a man can be part of, realistically, is probably war.
Yeah.
And I can probably count on my hands the amount of legitimate horror films about war.
Yeah.
I think there's Death Watch with Toby Bell and the guy who played Gollum.
Okay.
And there's Overlord that came out a few years ago.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, that's the one. And Overlord that came out a few years ago.
Sounds quite good. I mean, Overlord just sounds like a cool name.
I didn't like it.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. But
good name, bad film.
Yeah, it's not a bad film. People liked it, I just didn't like it.
Okay.
It wasn't what I wanted from a film. But I don't know, I feel like
you weren't overawed at Overlord.
I was not. And there's also like that. It's like Bunker or something. There's like a whole bunch of films about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like you could probably do a few more horror films about war.
Yeah. Horror war films would be quite a cool genre. I was thinking, take the notion of your Apocalypse Now and stuff, but take that idea, but then stylize it. Do you know what I mean? Retrofit the horror to war rather than because a lot of stuff uses war iconography. Like classic. Hugo Boss was the original designer of the Nazis outfits. The Stormtrooper outfits. So people have done all right and moved forward. We have. All right, I've got something for you, Nick. Wrote a joke for this podcast. You ready?
Yeah.
Why did the Peeping Tom join the government?
Why?
So he could have a propaganda. Moment of silence there.
I want the audience to know I've left the room.
Yep. He's left.
In disgust.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay. That's just, I have thought about this. And
yeah,
so the war film. I mean, I don't really have much else to say to it. Obviously, it's a proponent of the capitalist machine. You don't have the military-industrial complex without Hollywood's kind of arm of making it all shiny and okay again. But that's the cyclical nature.
Yeah, it's like post-capitalist.
Yeah, it's like we go and take, it is the Frankie Boyle check, but we go and take the resources, we profit from it, we sell it back to them, and then we go and make a movie out of it, and we make money out of that as well. And that's obviously, I joked about it at the start of lockdown that Captain Tom's film would be made, but there was fuck all else going on. Who else's story is going to be told in a global lockdown where basically everybody's doing the same thing, and we're doing fuck all? I think we talked about this before, actually. It's like the lived experience of war. Obviously, people were doing lots of different things. You had, my nan went through the Blitz. My granddad was sailing all over the world on the HMS Pelican. My other granddad, John, was in the army, territorial army, or in the trenches. So like, there's a lot of stories to be told from particularly World War II, but any war. Whereas now, basically everybody's stuck at home doing fuck all.
Yeah.
And that's not a very compelling story. But you can walk 100 times up your garden, mate, and make it a bit more interesting.
Make a bit of cash.
Yeah, make it $1. Get your own book. What do you reckon?
A bit of Skrilla.
Captain Nick.
Oh god, I don't even want to. No, that name alone is awful.
Yeah. If you were, what would be your ambition? Like, if you were a soldier, would you just be a private?
No, it's to die in combat.
Right,
heroic. To enter Valhalla.
Like the guy in Inglourious Bastards, which is that's not a war film.
That is, I would say that is a film set up war.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Like Tarantino, obviously, it's a Tarantino is a Tarantino film.
Yeah, I want to die in battle and enter Valhalla, and if that means if I've been dishonoured, that would involve me shoving a sword into myself. And
really? Wouldn't you just shoot yourself?
A warrior's no, it has to be a sword. A warrior's death.
I'd kamikaze it. I'd be in the RAF. Spitfire.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths.
I mean, the Spitfire as a thing. Who doesn't get emotional about? Like when they do the Spitfire flyovers.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
they love that.
I don't give a shit.
I know you don't. I'm just saying the nation does. So I reckon this is going to be picked up by a load of like middle-aged people that donated to Captain Tom's campaign, and they're gonna love this podcast.
Yeah.
Drink
it in. If I failed in battle, I'd perform harakiri.
Yeah.
To honour my ancestors.
Really?
That is the perfect way to go.
What is that? Where you take everyone out with you?
No, that is what I would kill myself via sword into the gut, like a hero.
I don't think they have swords.
Like
in
a
the
samurai.
army
I would supply my own sword.
Yeah. I'd quite like to drive a tank.
Warrior's death.
Yeah.
Charge head first into battle.
It's getting a bit bleak now.
Realistic. They say we're not going into battle. We're retreating. I'm like.
Yeah. I'll go on my own.
A coward dies 1,000 deaths.
Yeah. Like films like The Last Samurai and stuff. Like when you're talking actual sword fighting wars, like that happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
World War One was the last actual close combat war, apparently. Like World War Two was mostly like cannons and shit, weren't it?
World War Two.
Yeah.
Well, that was guns, not cannons.
No, big fucking cannons. That was
tanks. And
it was cannons as well, mate. The Germans built this cannon. Honestly, I remember.
Are you talking about the one on the train? That was artillery. It wasn't a cannon. A cannon and artillery are completely different.
Hey man, I just know it was a big fucking gun.
But as an artillery, it was an artillery cannon, but a cannon is not the same as an artillery cannon.
Oh right, okay. You know what I mean, like a big gun.
Yeah,
and they developed all that shit, and I found that quite interesting. I remember seeing some documentary where it's like World War One was the last close combat war where people would actually fight each other physically rather than shoot each other over the trenches from 400 feet away. Yeah, but that's an interesting one. I had a question for you. Interesting canon fact, right? Do you know the origin of Humpty Dumpty?
It was a cannon on a castle.
Yes. Yeah. So did you know where we live in Essex, folks? Don't hunt us down if you hate us about Captain Tom. Humpty Dumpty was a cannon at Colchester Castle that in a battle, I didn't know this until a year ago. Obviously, everybody knows Humpty Dumpty, and it was from Colchester, mate. It's very local to us.
Big up, big up.
Yeah, big up Humpty Dumpty. I think we've exhausted the war angle.
You wanted to talk about Band of Brothers.
Oh yeah, and Band of Brothers, yeah. Interesting thing I found about Band of Brothers is you forget how many up-and-coming actors were in it. Tom Hardy, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Who else is in it? It's gonna bug me. Let me look it up.
He was the guy who's in Justified season 2.
Oh yeah.
David Schwimmer's in it.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Apparently they went to war because he was like, "This is my sandwich," and he lost it from there and just killed everyone.
True fact.
Yeah, that's how Steven Spielberg saw the rage that Ross could make and went, "Fucking, I don't know what to do with him. Let's do this." Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I liked Band of Brothers. That's one like modern kind of take. That was around the time of Sopranos and like sort of the re-emergence of the golden age of TV and stuff, and really put him. Shout out to HBO because they did really do some bits at the start of the millennium with actually investing in really great programming, and that is an example of it. And in terms of quality programming, I appreciate.
I'm a big fan of Band of Brothers. Also, I'm not as big a fan of the Pacific,
right.
but I do enjoy the Pacific. It's got Rami Malek in it. He was in that. It's also the guy who played Shane in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name, but he was in. There's a bunch of there's the same. It's like a bunch of people in this TV show, and they ended up becoming bigger stars. Not as quite an event of.
The Band of Brothers is good, yeah. What else I was thinking, Nick, is what's that one? Great Escape. Everyone always says The Great Escape is the best British movie of all time. I've seen it. I've seen most of it. It's sort of like the geezer's version of The Sound of Music. Is The Sound of Music a war film?
No.
No, it's a musical. No. Never seen it. Have you seen it all?
I've watched it a few times.
I know The Hills Are Alive with The Sound of Music. I know
it's a Von Trapp. I've watched that film quite a few times.
Yeah, it's a Von Trapp film, isn't it?
Yeah, because my grandmother, rest in peace.
Rest in power.
Shout out to Grandma Peg.
Ledge.
She watched a lot of musicals. So I watched that film quite a few times. I don't remember anything about it. I just remember watching it like constantly.
Yeah, it is purely spectacle. I think it's like, I don't know. I find that era, the 50s kind of golden era, like, it's just not my bag. I'm just so like removed from it. Do you know what I mean? So, but interesting. Okay, Great Escape, good for you. Band of Brothers, I'm going to go back and rewatch. Anything else you're thinking? Hot topics on the war thing? Did you see 1917?
No, I haven't watched a new film in like 2 years.
Oh really? What have you been watching lately, Nick?
Well, that's a lie because I watched a few Spike Lee films.
Oh
yeah. I watched Defy Bloods.
Oh yeah, I watched that the other week. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman again. That's the second last film I think, and that's a great film. I watched that and it was very interesting.
I watched Black.
And that's a war film. Yeah, that's a war film. We haven't mentioned that. Okay, that's relevant. The Five Bloods.
Yeah, we barely talked about Full Metal Jacket and Platoon. Haven't mentioned Platoon.
So Platoon is just like at the end when they're all getting blown up, isn't it? Is Platoon the one at the end where they're all getting blown up?
That's one. Platoon is Charlie Sheen and.
Oh yeah. Great film. Yeah, for me, Full Metal Jacket was just like the whole. Like obviously, Stanley Kubrick is a genius. We've covered that before, and also it doesn't take us in a film podcast to have it being said that Stanley Kubrick was a genius, even if he was quite mental at how he, enacted, like put his actors through hell in order to get this so-called atmosphere or reaction from, be it, who's the actress in The Shining that classically said? Someone DeVal. Oh, it's going to bug me. How have I forgotten her name? Actors, not my strong point, folks. Like I said earlier, with the 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon, Nick tried to pose this new segment that we do, this feature, where we would name actors and have a little quiz together and sort of challenge each other. Absolutely not going to happen. I like Shelley Duvall. See, I knew Duvall, so I said that bit. Yeah, and she famously said like Kubrick was such a bastard to her. She basically quit acting because of The Shining, didn't she?
I haven't seen her in much.
I believe so.
I haven't really seen her in much since, other than the Shining.
Yeah.
No, I don't really think she was in. She was definitely in films, but obviously nothing I watched.
Okay. So, that's a new one. Oh yeah. Right. So we're going to play Jason's favourite quiz, which is I'm going to make you guess, and also, oh man, that is. Okay, so I have here.
Quiz on me?
I'm throwing a quiz about the top 10 highest grossing war movies of all time.
Oh god, okay, I might just be able to do this.
Right. However, I'm going to say to you now, Nick, basically, their definition of what a war film is full of shit.
Okay, so
you're not going to like this list.
Okay, Pearl Harbor.
Where are you putting that?
I'm not putting it anywhere. I don't know the numbers. Just if it's yes or no.
Yes. Pearl Harbor's in it. Right. Guess how much money that made. What number are you gonna rank it at?
That's like 4.
Oh, you bang on! It's
really?
number 4.
Hey, big up me.
How much money?
Out of 100 million made.
100 million. Come on, mate. Top 10 war films all time. Hollywood makes a lot more money than
200 million.
449 million.
I don't know.
No, you don't know.
Okay, so
what's your other guess? That's not a fucking war film, is it? Oh man, 2, 3 and a half. Oh mate, that is crazy.
So how many of them would you say are not war films?
Half of them.
Okay, so
I'd say at number 10. Do you want to have a few more guesses?
Okay, Saving Private Ryan in there.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to say the number because that involves too many.
Yeah, so that is Saving Private Ryan is number 2. Saving Private Ryan is number 2 at 481 million. Another Spielberg film is number 2 for obvious reasons. Everyone's seen it and everyone loves it. And also just happens to be one of the best war films ever made. Do you want to... I'm not going to lie to you, Nick. I'm incredibly unhappy at the rest of the list. So shall I take you through the top 10?
Take me through the top 10.
Apparently, this is what you class as a fucking war film. This is absolute bollocks. Number 1, Lincoln.
Not war film.
Not war film. It's in my... Look, to the audience at home, just to be clear, right, in defining what a war film is, we've talked a lot about the critical analysis of like war and society and Hollywood's role in terms of like how it reflects that propaganda, etc., and the machine of these things to make money. But a war film should be in a social historical context and it's fucking war all the time. Okay? A war film is not Lincoln. Lincoln is about a president. Again, like what I was saying about the individual, like, you know, it's just not a war film. So yeah, number 10, Lincoln, 275 million. Number 9, go on, guess. We've talked about him, and take the idea of the individual hero. Who's number 9 on the supposed war film? It's not a superhero, but superheroes feature in this whole top 10. This isn't a super. This is an action star.
Okay, so does that mean Captain America is in this? The first Avenger?
Yes.
Okay.
Motherfuckers.
What film? What number is it?
I'm not going to tell you yet. We're still guessing.
Would it be Patton?
No. Number 9 is Rambo First Blood Part 2, $300 million.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
I mean, do you think it is? Yeah, I mean, it's a one-man war. I mean, he does fuck up people.
He's in war.
But it's 50-50, really. Number 8, Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Half and half. That's a half and half one again. Number 7, something we haven't mentioned. Another Spielberg classic. What could it be? It's not War Horse.
So is it... Did he do 1917 or Dunkirk?
No, he didn't do either.
Didn't do either of them? Okay.
Nolan, and then there's the other guy was the James Bond guy, Sam Mendes, I think did 1917, but I might be wrong. No, I think I'm right.
Spielberg?
Mm-hmm.
What fucking war films are he?
Liam Neeson. Ricky Gervais has a great joke about it.
You're assuming I watched the Academy Awards.
No, he's early stand-up. It's Schindler's List.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
So yeah. Schindler's List, a classic.
I'm surprised it made that much money.
I know, $321 million.
Jeez.
And then we have Captain America at number 6, the first Avenger, $307
million. Yeah, not a war film.
It's not a war film, it's a superhero fucking film. Please, people, what is this? It's like the whole world has gone mad. Then the next one, you will not get whatsoever. I haven't actually seen it, but it's famous for one line. And the line is, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. By Clark Gable, spoken in Gone with the Wind. I don't think Gone with the Wind is a thing. And Vivian Lee...
I don't think that's Gone with the Wind, that quote.
It is. Oh, it is, mate, I promise you.
Isn't that like Casanova or something?
No, you're thinking Casablanca.
Casablanca.
And you're thinking of the classic quote, all the bars and all the towns, you know. That one. No, I promise you, it's Gone with the Wind. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
How much money did that make?
$400 million.
And also Vivien Leigh quit. This has been done for inflation, because otherwise that's an insane amount of money for that to make when it was made.
Oh. Says, what's all the more impressive is to consider that this film made most of its money many decades earlier, when the cost of entrance to the cinema was something like a nickel. Comparatively speaking, there's simply been nothing to compare the success of this film to its modern times. If this list used inflation-adjusted figures, this could easily be the number one film.
Holy shit!
That's crazy. 400 million back in the 60s or 50s or whenever. That's a fuckload of money. That's I'm not here to be an economist. Next one, you got Pearl Harbor at number 4, right? Right, and you got Saving Private Ryan at number 2, didn't you? So you got Saving Private Ryan. So number 1 and number 3, not cool with these films whatsoever. Okay. Number 3, have a guess at number 3.
Can you give me an actor?
I can. All right, I'm just gonna say it. Gerard Butler.
300.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a war film for
me. It's not a war film for me either. And I fucking loved that film when I was 16. I was like, that was my jam. I was like, yeah, buff geezers fucking shit up. It's basically the Zulu story, right? So Zulu, now another really racist, problematic propaganda film that Michael Caine's a part of. And 300 is an actual ancient Greek fable. So it's based on an actual battle. So don't get me wrong. In terms of that, but it's so stylized and it's so removed from an actual reality that I can't consider that an actual war film. I get why they're saying it. This cartoon-like special effects extravaganza of the Spartans making a last stand against the Persians wowed audiences and made huge bang at the box office.
Especially because that's not a war, that's a battle.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a different thing. It's a comic book. It's a comic book film. So yeah, we had Saving Private Ryan at number 2. The number 1 apparent war film. I don't think it's a war
Give me an actor.
Bradley Cooper.
Okay. Silver Linings Playbook.
No, The Hangover Part 2. No, it's American Sniper.
Oh,
by Clint Eastwood.
I didn't know it made that much money.
Oh, mate, it made loads of money. 547 million. It won Oscars and stuff. It was Oscars contender.
Yeah, I know everyone made jokes about the baby. Everyone made jokes about the baby, didn't they? It's a really obviously fake baby.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, they're just sort of shitty. Yeah. This Clint Eastwood drama played it smart, slowly releasing the film into just a few theatres to build word of mouth before opening the film worldwide. The slow burn release was accompanied by an incredibly strong marketing campaign that showed intense scenes from the film where sniper Chris Kyle, because it's based on a real sniper.
Yeah, he's like a psychopath.
Yeah, he was fucked up. He was fucked up. Is forced to decide whether to shoot a woman who may or may not be carrying a weapon. And then, of course, there was the resultant controversy over the film after the film opened, as some were outraged by Kyle's purported real-life indifference to taking lives in Iraq. The film became a sort of litmus test for left versus right, and in doing so, it received huge amounts of free publicity, becoming the talked-about movie of the moment. All of this helped propel American Sniper to be both the highest-grossing R-rated movie of all time and the highest-grossing war film of all time. Their definitions there of what a war film is, I don't really agree with. I've seen parts of American Sniper, and Clint Eastwood has a problematic sort of thing with race with some of his films.
Yeah, have you seen? I mean, you've seen Gran Torino.
I started it and I had to fucking turn it off.
It's just old timey racist.
Yeah, it's like Harry Brown done really bad. Yeah. And even Harry Brown's that good. It's not cool. You're appealing to a part of toxic masculinity and part of toxic society, which doesn't help anyone. If the so-called war genre is to move on, then it obviously has to take from the 70s, the Vietnam War onwards, today's modern, Middle East battle and terrorism, and say, this is, that's why James Bond films have got more gritty, is because you can't have the glossy thing. You have to have some element of there's a depravity to James Bond now. Daniel Craig's James Bond brings that. James Bond is ridiculous because, like, when you talk about the opening Olympics or what we sell the cultural like significance of a nation on, we've gone and fucked up a load of countries. Yeah, we've had an empire stretching across the world. We've had the Commonwealth where we take everybody's resources and then like keep them in their place. And then we've got this brand of Hollywood hero that essentially is a propaganda tool. Like he is the British establishment incarnate, and yet we still sell it. Like it's still one of our it's our biggest franchise apart from Harry Potter. And I'm like, that sort of speaks to our society that we can still sell that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's well, Daniel Craig was hot. Pierce Brosnan was hot.
True. You got a handsome, charming, Sean funny Connery guy doing it.
Was hot. I mean, people thought Idris Elba might be it because Idris Elba was
apparently
hot.
Tom Hardy is going to be all over the.
Tom Hardy's hot.
Do you think that he will be? Who do you think will be the next James Bond?
I want Idris Elba because I'm a big King Idris fan.
Yeah. And then the argument against that is apparently, obviously, Ian Fleming didn't write James Bond as a black man. Like, so this idea of having a black Bond.
Who gives a fuck what Ian Fleming thinks?
We wrote it.
So.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like.
No, but it's also been. Yeah, but it's also implied that the name's like a code name.
I would like a black James Bond.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying that. What's your. Alright, this is an interesting conversation. Like, what do you believe that franchises should evolve from their original setting in order to move with modern times? Or should something replace James Bond where it is just a black spy?
No, there's a difference between it evolving in current times and a story being set in current times.
Yeah.
Like, if someone made a thing set 100 years ago, and in 1,000 years, whatever the fuck, it can be the same. But if a story is set constantly going with current time, eventually you have to accept, well, he might not be white.
Yeah.
So if Fleming was like, no, I didn't write him as white, well, guess what? It's also been fucking 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's a new chapter. Your guy kept on going forward. Also, James Bond's a code name. It's not his real name.
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah.
Really, I said it. So fuck it.
I agree. I mean, I also think that, like, if you look at the end of the Pierce Brosnan thing of James Bond, it got so ridiculous with like lasers and all this CGI that was shit. Like, they have gone back to an actual postmodern terrorist kind of, take on the James Bond franchise. Which, in terms of, a modern war film, is that a modern war film has to be about economics and about spies and espionage and proxy wars and the internet and dark money and the dark web, because those are the tools and the weapons of which we fight modern wars rather than in the trenches and the sort of nostalgic the golden kind of look of the Great Escape, like, compared to now. It's like the Great Escape is a romantic, breakout prison war film. And it's not doable now. It's not like the sort of James Dean hero compared to Daniel Craig's hero is, or even the Batman of today. Like, when you really look at the like sort of semi-realistic take on this soldier of anarchy, or battling anarchy in that sense, like, then they're always a bit fucked up, aren't they? They all have that element of the PTSD. They all drink. Daniel Craig's Bond drinks too much. He's clearly been a victim of this violence, and they use that as a way to make the reality of it deeper and grittier and more. The stakes are higher because of that, rather than, say, for instance, the Invincible Warrior. Like, and that's like. Do you know what I mean? That those two, like, we now have, like, Batman has to have like these problems and talk about his feelings, whereas now, back in the day, Batman was used as a prop for war. Like, I showed you the DC Vault stuff where he is literally, like, they have literally written him in to be part of the war effort and to give soldiers morale, because comic books, that's how comic books got massive. Is that in World War II, all of the G.I. Joes, they all massively read comics. Like that's what actually funded the original comic book boom. And they all came back, and then obviously you're looking at. There's an interesting thing about the reflection of war with the comic book kind of narrative, and obviously Captain America. You can't get more propaganda than fucking Captain America.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they invented Captain America. Stan Lee. There's literally interviews of Stan Lee talking about Captain America, going, "Yeah, basically, like we had to come up with something." And that was it, and it's obvious when you look at it. Like, but then they retroactively, Marvel and Disney have redone it, and it's apparently a war movie, Nick. The thing that they made in the original comic book to placate and have propaganda about World War II, they've then exploited and put him in that world in order to perpetuate their franchise.
I mean, Captain America did punch Hitler.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could argue he was always involved in the war.
Yeah.
He wasn't a war comic book. It wasn't about war. He was about Captain America.
Yeah, but that's kind of interesting. Is like
being America.
You know, the cyclical nature of it is like completely obvious once we break it down. In this podcast, you kind of like. I hope like people can see there's no. You can't really differentiate between the two because capitalism will exploit these things one way or the other. And it seems as though the same franchises and the same themes and topics have been exploited in, you know, if you want to create an Oscar-worthy film, then you go and you get the best actors and you critique it and you go and make Platoon or you go and make Full Metal Jacket or whatever. If you want to play, it's like playing a note on a piano, you know, with the nostalgia stuff, whether it's the 80s consumerism and the style and fashion of it, or the grittiness of war, like capitalism eternally will go back to it and use it for its own means, and then reuse it again, and all of that stuff. So definitely a weird one with the war genre. I mean, neither of us are massive fans of it, but it clearly has yeah, I mean you are, but I mean. Like it's not a fun genre to discuss, is it? It's not like it's not like when we're talking, you know, if you're getting about Batman. Yeah? Would you like to blow shit up?
No, it's just I just know a lot about guns for some reason, even though purely based on films and video games, I know so much about guns.
So I was going to mention the COD effect because, like, you mentioned to have to load an AK-47 earlier, and I was thinking, COD is basically a military, you know. A military simulator for our generation, and that's kind of scary compared to like just depicting war. Is that actually does the games industry with the Call of Duty and other violent games like desensitize us to this violence?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it seems like I should not know any guns or any military terminology because I've not been raised to.
You haven't been raised in a military family.
Exactly, but I know so much about guns and like military tactics.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't. Like, this isn't something people should know unless you're involved in a certain aspect of the world. But I know, like, off the top of my head, like 30 guns and their strengths and weaknesses.
Was it 9mm?
Yeah, made in Israel.
Is it?
Yeah, it's an Israeli gun. Oh, wow. I shouldn't know that.
No, you shouldn't.
But I know all this stuff about guns, but it's purely because like I was raised in a generation where military shooters were very commonplace. I was raised on SOCOM and Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
So I know so much about guns, despite hopefully never touching one.
Yes, not helping your incel look, Nick. I mean,
big old incels. Big up to my incels.
No. Deleting the incels. Fuck the incels. Go get laid. Fucking stop moaning about it. It's not your. No one cares. No, I'm only joking. But don't. Yeah, I mean, I've shot a shotgun, but I only shot a clay pigeon, and I remember I did it first time, and I shot the clay pigeon in half, and I've always kept that cartridge. So it was a 10 gauge shotgun. I was pretty happy with myself.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, I think we've exhausted war.
Yeah.
As much as war can exhaust us. So that's been war and the Captain Tom. Look, by the way, good luck, Captain Tom. Good on you, mate. Like, you smashed it. If I were you, I'd be like patting myself on the back. Do you know what I mean? It's just that I'm not you. I don't have a number one single. I don't have a number one book, and no one's making a film about me yet. And maybe that's it. Maybe I commercially go to war with Captain Tom. Maybe I'm Captain Jason. I'll walk 1,000 steps.
You lose that fight. You lose that fight 10 times out of 10.
No, I'm going to get the Proclaimers involved. They're going to help me do some walking. All of it, mate. All of it.
Yeah.
Right. That's been the final cut, half cut on War. With me, Jason Winter, and good old Nicholas. Cheers, Nick.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.